Welcome back to the Horizon TV. I'm Sumner Sambo. Now, you may have heard of non-fungible tokens or NFTs, the new craze breaking out in the world of cryptocurrency. These digital tokens have fueled the rise of an unprecedented market for digital art. My next guest today is Osinachi, who is one of Africa's foremost crypto artists, using digital means to create and sell his work. And instead of the traditional tools you would expect an artist to use, such as paints, brushes, and a canvas, Osinachi wields nothing but Microsoft Word, that software we all have sitting on our laptops. And there's a huge market for his work. Last year, he sold $75,000 worth of NFTs in just 10 days. He's also the first crypto artist from Africa to have his work sold by Christie's auction house in Europe, and has launched his own social currency. So how has Osinachi thrived using a common word processing tool few would ever think to use for making art? And I'm delighted to say that Prince Jaycon Osinachi Igwe, or Osinachi as he is professionally known, joins me now from our studio in Lagos. Glad to have you, Osinachi. And I just want to start with that digital currency that you have named after yourself. I mean, can you just give us a bit knowledge about that and how it could actually change digital currency or, in operations in Nigeria and globally?
Well, it's called a social token, and it's called Osina. A social token, of course, is called a social currency by some people, but it does more than just hold some monetary value. It could also serve as my way of bringing my community together. You know, I could decide to gift it to people who buy my work. I could decide that before you can see an Osinachi in a gallery or wherever, you should have the Osina social token. So it really does more than hold monetary value.
One would want to wonder how disruptive is the NFT when it comes to Africa at the moment. Do you think there's a lot of followership, a lot of interest in what that is all about? And how have you sold this idea to others so that they could make some monies out of it, just like you're doing?
Well, yeah, the hype is here, and the hype is real. Like I tell people, it's not really about the money. As a digital artist, I don't think I would be this big if not for the blockchain, if not for NFTs. Because, of course, what the blockchain offers to digital artists who are making NFTs is the ability to create what is known as provable scarcity for your work. So instead of someone saying, I can copy and paste this work, so what is the value in the work? How do I also show that I own this work? All of that is stored on the blockchain, and because of that, digital artworks now have value just as much as the traditional artworks. Artists are free to enter the space. I mean, it's open to everybody, but it has to be with the right motivation, which is not just about the money, but a way of putting value on your work, on whatever you're creating. It's not just visual artists that are doing it in the NFT space. Musicians are also doing their thing, what is called audio NFTs. And
you are using Microsoft Word to actually do this work of art. I mean, I've seen them looking very beautiful on Instagram. I mean, the wow effect is there. So how would anyone have thought of using, I mean, this same MS Word that we all use every day to do this kind of beautiful work of art? How do you do that magic?
Yeah, I've been making art on Microsoft Word for over 15 years. So this is even before the blockchain, even before crypto. It's just something I took interest in. I started first of all as a writer. So of course I was drawn to Microsoft Word to type my manuscript and send out to people, to magazines and all that. So I just started playing around as a teenager with the drawing tools in Microsoft Word, and have developed my craft over the years. I didn't think I was going to do art full-time. I aspired to do art full-time, but I didn't think it was going to be possible until 2017, when I joined the NFT space as the first ever African. And then things became big in late 2019, and I felt, okay, this is something that can put food on my table. Now I can do this full time. So Microsoft Word has always been my medium. I think it also makes my work special in a way.
It's limited in the tools you can actually use in creating this work of art. I mean, there are several other apps that have, different tools within this one app. But here you have Microsoft Word, which can be very limited. And a lot of people want to wonder how you go about creating magic out of that, Microsoft Word.
I enjoy the challenge. It's quite challenging, but I enjoy it.
And so let's talk about an NFT art and a physical art. What's the difference basically, and how do you go about monetizing an NFT art?
Well, the difference is that while physical art is physical, you can touch it. I mean, NFTs is stored on the blockchain, so you can't necessarily touch it, but you can see it, of course, because there are screens now that certain companies are making where you can show your NFTs if you ever collect it. So when someone puts their work on the blockchain, it becomes an NFT. There are collectors who are willing to buy this work if they like it enough and believe in the artist. They buy this work. And of course, just as someone in the traditional art world would buy a physical artwork and hold it for, say, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years even, before they resell it to somebody else and make profit, of course. It's the same way collectors in the NFT space would hold an NFT for a while and then resell it as the value of the artist has grown. They'll make profit. It's crazy what happens in the space. In the early days, I would sell works for as little as $50, $100. But right now, those works are being resold for up to $40,000.
Let's talk about those who have influenced you in this business, like David Hockney and all of that. You've talked about that. I mean, I read about that. What sort of influence did they have on you, and how were you able to make use of that influence to inspire you to do better than you did previously?
Hockney's influence in my practice was evident in Different Shades of Water, which is a series that was auctioned at Christie's in London. Made me the first African artist to be auctioned at Christie's in Europe. Also made me the first African, of course, to be auctioned by Christie's. So there are three artists whom I regard as my trinity in terms of my practice. People I look up to, people I love their work, people I appreciate their work. The first person is Kehinde Wiley, who makes this beautiful portraiture. There's also Njideka Akonyele Crosby, who of course is Nigerian American, and she makes these really beautiful works that will remind you of when you were a child. And there's Devon Shimoyama, an American artist, who is also big in the art world. The thing is that these artists are actually traditional artists, and I guess their influence is evident in my work, even though my work is digital.
And how was the Christie's listing, received by you when initially you were told that, I mean, as you are like the first African to be listed by Christie's, and you had your work being auctioned and all of that? How did you feel immediately you got that information? Well,
first of all, I thought it was good validation. Validation in the sense that there are so many people across the world who are doubting NFTs, who think that NFTs are a bubble. Of course, there are various categories of NFTs, so you can say that one category might be a bubble that will burst soon. But of course, the whole NFT craze, as you've seen, it is something that will continue to go on 50 years, 100 years from now. So I felt it was validation, first of all, because it would bring attention to my work from those in the traditional art world who really don't believe in NFTs. In London, when I was showing the works at 154 Art Fair, it was really awesome, people's reception of these works. You have people walk into the room where the works are hanging on the screens, and they'd scream and shout. They've heard about NFTs, they thought NFTs were just a fad, but looking at how beautiful these works are and the fact that they are NFTs, they felt very much interested in learning about NFTs, and that is what I enjoy doing, to sort of bridge the NFT space with the traditional art space so that people in the traditional art space will be educated enough to know what NFTs are about.
The NFTs seem to be the next biggest thing, and that a lot of people want to wonder why they should invest in this next big thing. What would you advise them when they ask such questions?
Well, the future is Web 3.0. In Web 3.0, we're talking about the metaverse. So you'd ask yourself why a company such as Facebook changed its name to Meta and rebranded to focus on the metaverse. So the metaverse is going to be really big, and in the metaverse you have NFTs, you have so many other things. And if you're looking to, of course, walk into the future, knowing that you knew about this before even it became bigger than it is now, this is the right time to enter the space. If you're a creator, you can enter as a creator. If you are someone who has the funds to collect NFTs, you also have to enter. It is very important for us to have African collectors enter the NFT space because, of course, naturally they would look for African art, and looking for African art means they make African artists in the NFT space even big artists also. This is something we need to take up as Africans, and of course make our own bigger.
All right, we must thank you so much, Prince Jaycon Osinachi Igwe, who's popularly known as Osinachi, for joining us from our Lagos studio to take a look at the NFTs and what that means for the future of Nigerians, Africa, and globally. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Sumner Sambo.